Hello everyone, my name is Sunny Herman. I'm with cmh3studio, and today we're going to be talking about codoozer versus mobincube. I'm going to give you some of my personal opinions, my reviews about each of the mobile development tools that I use to create mobile apps, mainly Android, but they both can create Android and iOS mobile apps. All right, so I just want to kind of say that these are of my own opinion and knowledge. Not all the features and functions are covered in this video. I definitely encourage you to research and find out a little bit more information about each of these companies and their products that they offer so that you can best decide which one will work for you. Now, to view their sites, just go to codoozer.com and mobincube.com. Both are easily picked by just going into your Chrome web browser and typing codoozer.com, where you can read about the codoozer project and also about the mobincube project or company. You can click take a tour to read more information about mobincube. But again, today is just covering what I feel are the best parts of each one. Their similarities, their differences, and we'll get started. The first thing to know is that codoozer and mobincube are two different tools. They are aimed at different audiences with different levels of skill, and they are two different companies. Here are some of the differences I feel that are most important. For codoozer, it's different from mobincube in the fact that you have to be a little bit more advanced with you don't have to be a programmer, but you do have to understand some logical things about when you go to build an app and you're putting the screens in. You have a lot of functionalities that you can add into there, like if statements and other logical components, like if the age of this value, or like let's say the age of the person on the phone is less than 18, then do this, or if it's greater than 18, do that. That kind of if logic and to some of that logical thinking, that critical thinking, is needed when you're using a tool like codoozer. Now, codoozer just doesn't leave you hanging. You're not going to code line for line into the application, but you will be prompted by the software itself to kind of finish that statement when you're coding. And of course, the target audience is for actually small businesses and startup. And then their business model is not just to develop apps, it's to develop server side software, websites, PHP, and other products like that. So it's not just for building Android apps, but it builds Android apps, and it does it very well. It does it very quickly too. And also just the type of subscription. It's a coin-based subscription versus a fee-based, like where you pay a dollar amount for mobincube. And again, if you're curious of how that works, you can go to pricing on mobincube, and you can see what do you get with the different levels of pricing. Obviously, I think I've told you in the past, I use the M pricing model because I feel it's the best bang for the buck. I get to have the capabilities of removing ads. Obviously, I have unlimited ad space, but that's only if you allow ads in them. If you take away the ads, you're limited to only 40 megs of free space. And of course, you have cloud services too. But these are the different pricing models for mobincube, and on codoozer, it's a little different story. And I won't go much into it, but the coin method is how you're going to do the pricing here. And I'm not going to go much into the different plans that they have, But just know that you can go to codoozer.com and click on premium, and you can look at the different pricing models. Just as note, I did not say this in the last video, but they are right now in beta, and they're offering an initial coin offering or Doyen offering that can save you a ton of money, basically by making it $1 a coin, which is awesome. So the subscription model is definitely different than how you're used to on mobincube. Now mobincube, it's great. It's what I used for many years. codoozer just came along in May of this year, but mobincube has been around for a long time, and they've got a lot of experience with of how they implemented their software. The main difference is it's a template design or a template-driven screen design where you choose a template on the software and you drag that into the screen area, and you can quickly create different types of screens, like database screens, screens that call URLs like web URLs. You can also have options lists. You can have action images. So it's all dragging and dropping versus the coding part. So again, that's a bigger difference. So if you were looking for something that was even less codey and just drag and drop ease, definitely mobincube has that advantage there. It is directed towards individual entrepreneurs, folks like myself, creative hobbyists. You know, it's not necessarily meant for companies, but it could be used. You could brand your own apps using mobincube. They have that business model in their pricing, which is basically this column over here. You can create a private brand. And then of course, just to continue on with that, it's really for just mobile apps. You're not going to create anything else other than mobile apps for Android and iOS with mobincube. So I didn't mention a lot about the pricing, but I encourage you to look at that. The initial Doyen offering, if you're interested in getting in while it's in beta, I highly recommend it, because you're not going to get it for any cheaper than you do right now. So the third thing I want to kind of go over, and I just want to make sure I didn't skip too much here. I think I just skipped the second one. How about that? Alright, so I told you what the differences are. Now I'm going to tell you what their similarities are. The second thing that they share in common is they are both very quick to develop your apps. They're rapid app development, and they don't require you to install any software on your PC. It's all web-based, and that makes it like you can use Chrome, you could use Firefox. I use Chrome because it seems to be very, I guess, there's no bugs with using Chrome, I guess. Like I said, they're both web-based, browser-based software environment, so any of their upgrades and bug fixes are seamless to the user. You don't see them, there's not a lot of downtime. There's no software to download, obviously. Now the design tools the reason why I put them in here as a shared, because they're both really good benefits of each software. The drag and drop of the template screens or screen templates, and the dragging and dropping of those elements like images and text and video, that couldn't be easier. And it's kind of like a table driven design flow. But when you start codoozer, you're not left hanging. It creates the default JSON files, those objects and arrays that are mandatory for any Android app creation. So then when you start that codoozer development, you have all the parts you needed right now to actually build that app. Now, what you're doing is you're really just updating and filling out undefined fields, and you can also this is where you get the custom ability to just go crazy. You can do as much as you want. The functional lists that uh, that are they're prompted to you in a way. So like the function of playing a video or a sound would only appear if you're selecting a video object or a sound object. It wouldn't do that if you're picking a text or picking an image. Those functional lists are dynamic, and that is so helpful in comforting that you're not going to make a mistake. You're not going to have the wrong function tied to the wrong type. And so that design tool is just amazing. Now, both of the mobincube and codoozer environments allow you to build as many apps as you want, and both of them you can build and compile that APK. So if you're not familiar with an APK, that's just a zip file that comes out of the creation of the app, that is where you upload to like a Google Play. You have to upload the APK to Google. I did not mention anything about the cloud access, but both offer cloud capabilities. Custo.io for codoozer and mobincube cloud as well, and I believe even mobincube cloud can use Custo.io as well, as a kind of like a Dropbox type application. Both can integrate with Firebase, and that is amazing because Firebase has a lot of tools available to the users to integrate with their apps and make them highly functional, like logins and messaging and notifications. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of go over was just my favorites about each product. The codoozer is brand new. You're getting in on the ground floor of something very big. And with that initial coin offering, it's 90% cheaper than it will be, 6 months from now. That's buying in low and not necessarily selling high, because you're not selling coins, but you're ensuring your future development remains inexpensive, and you can't get cheaper than $1 a coin. The UI for codoozer is the fastest UI I've ever seen. There's no hesitations, there's no glitches, it just moves. And so I'm very impressed with the UI of, not just, it's so clean too. It's very easy to understand. I mean, I don't know if it was like simple is better, but it is definitely better. So there's source code downloading. So once you're done with your APK, not only can you store your project files on the cloud, you could download them to your computer, but this is something that mobincube can't do. You cannot get your own source code. So let's say you've completed your app and you want the actual lines of code that you spent all your time working on in codoozer, and you can actually do that. I think with the coin purchasing, you can download your source code. And then you got mobincube, good old faithful. You couldn't be easier to use. This type of drag and drop is how I got started building mobile apps, and as time has gone on, they have increased their capabilities, their functions within these drop downs. So you do use your mouse to drag the screens. You do use your mouse to drag the elements. You are prompted once you drag those elements into the screen for the actions that are capable. And then obviously they get the new interface, which just came out, I think, within the last year with mobincube. The new interface versus the classic interface both have their pros and cons. I think I talked about that in a previous video, but definitely the new interface is bringing a whole lot more functionality than was ever there before. So you can do logins, you can do chat type apps VR apps, and so much more. And of course, the community of mobincube. With all this history and time of being out there in the market, mobincube has got a great user community with a lot of people who support each other with their posts and their questions and their ideas. And obviously, that's one of the best parts is just working with others and trying new things like building apps together. And I've met a lot of people over the years, and I really enjoy the community part of mobincube. So I didn't mention all the pricings above the free account and how that acts, but please visit mobincube.com or codoozer.com to learn more. And again, if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel and like the channel. If you're a link viewer, please feel free to support the channel by clicking that little support arrow. And thank you again for your time. I hope you all had a great Mother's Day weekend, and we'll talk to you later.